Good evening to everyone, and it is marvelous to offer a welcome to this impressive and knowledgeable audience gathered here this evening for the launch of the Arthur Watts Fellowship. It's been put to me by Lady Watts this evening that this is not a further memorial, that this is an evening to enjoy ourselves, and that Arthur would have wished that. And this day has been long awaited by the Institute and its staff, for whom this dedicated fellowship is of the greatest importance. Now, this great audience, the present members of the International Court of Justice, members of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court, Attorney General, representatives of the Diplomatic Corps, past and present judges, academics and practitioners, surely testifies to the remarkable affection in which Arthur Watts was held. It's one thing to respect a lawyer, and it's another thing to couple that respect with a deep affection. His life may seem to have been divided into distinct parts. The FCO, where he was a truly outstanding legal advisor, and then his arrival at his retirement from the FCO at the International Bar. But in reality, it was all of a part. Throughout these various phases, Arthur engaged in scholarship of the highest order. His work, for example, on immunity of heads of state was over the years very influential, and of course his co-authorship with Robbie Jennings of the magisterial 2-volume Oppenheim was a most remarkable piece of work. And throughout it all, Arthur was a long-standing member of the Institute. He served on its Council of Management from 1987 to 2005 and was then on its Advisory Council. And he strongly supported particular areas of the Institute's work, for example, research on the topic of damages in international law. After the shock of his death, it was rapidly felt there should be a living memorial to him, and how this developed into the funding of an Arthur Watts Fellow and how this was put into practice will be mentioned by Sir Franklin Berman, the chair of the Institute's trustees. Arthur Watts' commitment to the Institute had been so real and so generous. The Institute does many things and does them well, but at the same time, public international law is at the heart of the life of the Institute. And it's so important that we now have a fellowship dedicated to the issues of international law generally. So international law can securely take its central place in the work of the Institute. Arthur's career as an advocate began only when he left the Foreign Office, even though he started appearing before the court relatively late. It was at once clear there was a new star in the firmament of leading advocates. The bench greatly appreciated, until the moment of his death, his forensic skills, and they simply loved listening to him. There was no evident displaying of his skills as a barrister, nor any attempt to impress the court with his enormous knowledge of public international law generally and the court's case law specifically. Instead, he would quietly lead the court through the materials, building all the while a thread of case law that was to point inexorably to his preferred outcome. His skills and the evident enjoyment of the bench in listening to him led, I thought, to his often being given by his colleagues in a legal team the most impossible points to argue. The feeling evidently was, if anyone can convince the bench of this rotten point, Arthur will. But we enjoyed him all the same. This dedicated fellowship will help the Institute with its work in areas of importance to Arthur and will be generally of great importance, and we're very pleased that you're all here for the moment of the launch of this fellowship.